Hey, do you remember that high school guy? The person who was always by themselves that got everyone's attention. You'd see him hunched over in the corner and wonder, what's his deal? He wasn't the best quarterback or the funniest person in the class. He wasn't even like any of the typical high school characters. Someone who was friends with everyone and no one at the same time. You still can't figure him out after all these years. One of those guys is a Sigma. And you're still stuck in the past, thinking about a puzzle you never solved. Do not fear, I am about to reveal this thing. In high school, there are 6 reasons why Sigma guys were always the popular loners. You remember those people from high school who some people might call nerds, right? They had their faces buried in their textbooks and were furiously taking notes and reading every word over and over again in an effort to get that A+. Picture your Sigma male now, the one sitting in the back, drawing in his notebook and staring out the window, doesn't seem to be paying attention to the teacher's dull talk. Then the report cards came out, and bang, all A's. The Sigma isn't about the grind, the all-nighters, or the crazy amount of work that most overachievers have to do. He's a smart guy who doesn't show off his abilities for everyone to see. He doesn't need proof of how smart he is. Do you get it? The smarts of the Sigma don't need your go-ahead. He was doing nothing and getting B's while you were studying for the big test or making a lot of noise. He doesn't learn just to get good grades or please their teachers, as shown by a quick look at his books. No, his mind is much stronger, all with little work. Do you really think he's that lazy? You think that stress and hard work are the only ways to do well in school. You're completely wrong. The Sigma is the best example of how to work smarter, not harder. His brain is like a museum, picking out and keeping the things that really matter. You may have looked up to him or even disliked him, and most people do. It seemed wrong how easily he got around in school. But let me be clear, you don't need sympathy or envy. You need to be reminded of how things really are. The Sigma male was never into showmanship or getting compliments. He was smart and had good grades, but he didn't show them off. No, he wore his intelligence with a kind of quiet confidence that made his more conventional friends nervous as they studied for simple tests. So the next time you think about that Sigma male in high school, remember that his easy grades weren't a stunt. They were just pure genius working in low-power mode. A mode you wish you could open, but aren't sure how. Do you want to know the worst part? It's likely that you wouldn't be able to handle it even if you knew how. High school. Good times, right? Or maybe everything bad. In either case, it was a place where popularity contests, cliques, trends, and the need to fit in smashed everything. The sheep were all bleating the same tune though, and the Sigma male stood out from the crowd. Not affected by the disease of group pressure that spreads quickly. You can laugh it off and call it a lie or an exaggeration. But let me tell you something. You're so wrong that it's not funny anymore. The Sigma was often in his corner, doing his thing, while you were tripping over yourself to fit in with the crowd and chasing acceptance like a dog after a bone. You ask, what's that thing? Simple. He wasn't putting on a show or pretending to be someone else. He was just himself. Damn it. He was as determined as steel that had been honed. No matter what the crowd did, he just stayed himself and didn't care. Oh, the Sigma male also got an invite to that party that everyone was yelling for. But unlike you, he didn't jump at the chance to waste the night drinking cheap alcohol and talking about nothing. He didn't need to breathe in smoke from other people to feel alive. He was too busy following his hobbies, learning new things, and living the life he chose, not the one that teens on high-stress drugs told him to live. Being immune to group pressure was like getting a slap in the face from a Sigma male. You didn't ask for it, but you badly needed it. Even though you were trying to fit in by changing your clothes, he was being himself without any shame. This is what made him popular. Not his desire to fit in, but his strength to stay true to himself in the middle of all the chaos that high school can bring. Also, he chose whether to show up or not. He could choose to stay home and do his own thing. It was either he chose to be alone, or he was always willing to meet new people. Are you starting to get it, buddy? Let's talk about it. Take a look at the people who hang out at your high school. Some of them are jocks, nerds, goths, cheerleaders, and so on. The Sigma male was a ghost or a paradox in the heart of all of this. These boxes didn't fit him. He was by himself but not lonely. He was a part of everything but not part of it. Isn't it strange? Being a Sigma is a lesson you need to learn. You'd see him hanging out with the jocks one day and mathematician with the nerds the next. He might even join the cheerleaders for a short time. He was never a part of them. Though, despite trying to fit in, he always did his own thing. He took part but never felt like he belonged. That's the Sigma's power, if you will. There was no need for a squad to describe him. He was separate from any group. He could take care of himself and was his own person. This made him very attractive. If you saw him by himself, you didn't see a loser, you saw a guy who was happy with himself. Whether it was a crowd or just a corner of the canteen, you saw a man who was king of his world. That's what made him popular, not the never-ending search for acceptance or the never-ending battle to fit in. His daring individuality, his sense of self-reliance, and his sense of humor. Now I want you to think about how many times your group or friends have helped you define who you are. I know it's hard to hear, but guess what? That's not good enough for you. In my eyes, you're not just a piece of a puzzle. You're the whole picture. Stop being afraid and walk by yourself if you have to. You know what they say. It is preferable to walk alone in the right direction than to join the crowd that is going in the wrong direction. This is very important. High school can be like a storm, all the time a drama. Teenage drama, love plots, small fights, and all that other crap. But remember our Sigma male. He was like a rock, not moving or upset. The truth is that this wasn't because he was a heartless robot. No, far from it. He recognized how pointless everything was. Tomorrow's lost news is today's life-changing drama. He lived by it and knew it. You should know that by now if you've changed at all since high school. The Sigma didn't learn this lesson until later in life, unlike most people. Since then, he knew everything about it. People didn't waste their time and energy on this guy. He didn't get caught up in the BS storm of rumors. It would bore him to hear about who is dating who or fighting with whom. He'd rather look at the clouds. It made people crazy. In a strange way, it also drew them to him. Why? Because he showed that you don't have to be a part of chaos and that you can pick your battles, or even better, choose not to fight at all. Let's be honest. How many times have you been drawn into a drama that you knew wasn't appropriate for you? How many hours have you spent on useless arguments or hearsay that doesn't matter? Don't lie to me. I already know the answer is too many. Now you need to ask yourself if you're ready to change that. Are you ready to be the calm in the storm? That, my friend, is the difference between being a Sigma male and just another face in the crowd. Let's talk about real shame now. Enough with the nonsense. In a world that constantly tells you to put yourself on a pedestal, make noise, and shout your accomplishments from the hills, this trait is so rare that it's almost extinct. He chose a different road as a Sigma male, though. His accomplishments were known, but he didn't like to talk about them. Although he was recognized for his abilities, he didn't shine. His friends looked up to him without saying a word. Why is that? For not telling anyone about his skills and hiding his light? Not really, though. He understood a thing that most people don't, you see. He knew that showing off or strutting won't win you real respect, the kind that lasts. It comes from always being honest, dependable, and humble. It comes from letting what you do talk louder than what you say. People knew he was valuable. He didn't need to say so. This is where you come in. Look at yourself in the mirror. You see what? Being cocky. Something to show off. Someone who seeks approval all the time. Or do you see someone who is happy with their skills, sure of their worth, and admired for being humble? I want to tell you something. Trust is earned, not given. You want people to admire you and pick you out. After that, Leave the drawn-out show-off circus. So much high school drama comes from love. Who likes whom? Who is dating whom? Who just broke up? Sense a pattern? Yes, of course it does. However, the Sigma male wasn't a part of this story. He was not a part of the love triangle. He wasn't the one who broke up hearts. Still, everyone was drawn to him. What the heck? Yes, the Sigma male was the ultimate hunk with his quiet personality and mystery air. So, you see, mystery makes people curious, and curiosity makes people interested. No one really knew much about his personal life, likes and dislikes, or who he was when he wasn't at school. And this made him impossible to beat. Not sure about this? Wait, too many times, you've been interested in someone not because of what you know about them, but because of what you don't know. The unknown is like a strong force. It pulls you in, keeps you guessing, and makes everyday things a little more exciting. He was probably being chased by girls, especially at high school parties. He probably didn't show a lot of attention, either. He knew better, which made the girls want him even more. He was, in a way, alone. But you got it, popular. But let's be clear about one thing. The Sigma male didn't use his good looks to trick people or play with their feelings. Nope, he was real and honest. He didn't trick or lead anyone on. He was living his life and kept his mind on his trip. And let me tell you something brutally honest. People are sick of the endless drama and chase. In other words, they want the real thing. This is the last thing I want to say, so pay close attention. Being a Sigma doesn't mean going with the flow or trying to fit in. It also doesn't mean being popular just to be popular. Pure, raw, unadulterated sincerity is what Sigma is all about. Being true to yourself is important, no matter what or who is putting pressure on you. The truth is that some people can't handle that.